welcome to what I think is episode 41. I'm pretty sure this is episode 41. Welcome to episode 41 of the Moanna Adams Podcast. I'm your host, Moanna, a 16-year-old girl with a lot to say and a lot more to learn. And it is my baby's 1-year anniversary. I posted the first episode of the podcast 1 year ago tomorrow. Tomorrow's October 31st. Halloween, and today is the day right before then, so this is our 1-year anniversary episode. Today we're talking about how we got here, and we're doing a Q&A from Instagram, and talking about what's going to be changing and happening for the next podcast year. And yeah, so I'm excited. I haven't posted in, I think, over a month. So yeah, we're going to do 1 year and talk about all the things, and I'm very excited. And I'm also going to answer some of your questions from Instagram. So yeah, let's start off with gratitude like we always do. And today, I am very grateful to have this podcast and to be able to have this podcast. I started it a year ago, and I'm really grateful for you and everyone out there who listened in this year, and all the fantastic guests that I had on, and everyone who supported me, my friends, my family, who, have just supported me this year and are proud of me, and all of those people. I am very grateful for them. And second segment, which is kind of new, is water, hydration. So everybody, grab your water. My water bottle only has, well, you can't really hear it. Well, you might be able to. It only has a little bit of water left. So 3, 2, 1, water. Okay. And then my currently living right now is Poppy. Poppy is a prebiotic soda. Comes in a can, just like any soda, but it has apple cider vinegar in it and it's a gut health soda. It's so good though. No one else in my family likes it. Well, actually, that's not true. My little brother likes it, and he doesn't like anything at all. I think it's really good. None of my parents think it's good. They all think it's really gross. But I think it's good. I drink the raspberry rose flavor. That is my favorite. It's so good. So that's my currently loving. And now let's just get into how we got started, or how I got started, I guess. I always say we, but I guess it's just me on my own. But how I got started with this podcast. I wanted to create content for a very, very long time. I mean, as long as I can remember, I've always been interested in some sort of, content creation, or, being in front of a camera or on a stage. And so I knew I always wanted to create something for entertainment purposes, and I knew I've for a very long time wanted to teach, but not as a teacher. I wanted to teach other things, and for a long time I didn't know what that was, because I'm only 16. So the fact that I even have some idea of what that is right now, I think it's pretty awesome. But it's something I always wanted to do. I watched a lot of mom blogs when I was younger, and so eventually, about halfway through our year-long trip, and if you don't know this already, my family and I in 2022, we lived in an RV for a year, the RV that I'm currently recording in, and we did 48 states in 48 weeks. We did all the lower 48 U.S. states, and about halfway through that trip is when I started posting on my personal Instagram. I posted reels and photos about just our trip and traveling, and I had a couple go viral, mini viral, not actually viral, and it was fun, but it was child's play, and I wanted something more, and I wanted something that would let me talk about things that I was passionate about like mental health and traveling and self-love and just all things teenage girl. I wanted an outlet for that. And so I started the Moanna Adams Podcast. I started the Moanna Adams Podcast with that name because I didn't want to be tied down to anything if my interest changed, especially because I'm so young. And so I wanted to pick something that if in a year or 6 months or in 4 years I decided that didn't want to talk about that anymore and I wanted to talk about, I don't know, food or whatever it was, I could talk about it because it was named after me. It was about what I wanted to talk about. And so yeah, and I chose podcasting specifically because I knew I could talk. I could talk all day. And it's a lot easier to sit in front of a mic than in front of a camera. And it's also easier to edit because I only have to worry about audio. So I thought it would be a good way to get started. I've also always been made fun of for the way I talk and my voice. And so it was also... People drive so fast on our road and it's so loud. I also wanted to push through that and, try to gain confidence in that area because, ever since I was in elementary school, I was always made fun of for my voice and the way I spoke and how high-pitched it was, or I was too loud or I was too quiet. And so it was definitely a way to kind of push back from that and gain a little bit of confidence in that area. So let's talk about the past year because it's been, I want to say that it's been crazy, but I feel like it hasn't in its own ways. And I would say I can't believe it's been a year, but I kind of can. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, the last year went by so fast, but it felt like a year to me. It feels like it's been a year. I don't know what to tell everybody else, but I did 41 episodes in the last year. I really wanted to, my goal was to have this be episode 50, and that did not happen, which, it's okay. It's okay. But I really wanted it to be episode 50, so I'm hopeful that we'll have more even numbers for next year's anniversary. And we had 9 incredible guests come on, and lots of late night, last minute editing sessions. I think majority of my episodes were edited the day before or the night of or the day of. I'm literally recording this episode the day of that it needs to go out within the next 5:30, 6:30. It's got to go out in the next 4 hours, so, doing my best here. But yeah, and I posted, I think, over 250 pieces of short form content. I'm hoping that that'll be higher next year, but yeah, I'm definitely proud of my work so far and the progress that's been made. I'm just kind of realizing how far I've gone and just a year at 16, so I'm really hopeful that over the next year, well, I was mostly 15 I guess I was mostly 15 throughout this last podcast year, so I'm pretty proud of myself, and I'm really hoping that the next year is going to be even better, even stronger, and yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for that section. And let's do Q&A because I'm hoping that this will be fun. Some of the questions I got were a little bit not fun, so I'm not answering all of them. But let's start off with, what was your favorite episode? My favorite episode. It's so hard. Honestly, I feel like I kind of black out after... Is that the right word? I don't know. I don't remember recording most of them, but at the same time I do. And I don't remember what most of them are... Not what they're about, but what's actually in each episode. I think my favorite episode is probably... I really like the episode I did with... where is it? I like the episode I did with Deanna. It's spelled like in English you say like Diana. But I like that episode a ton. What's another really good one? I really liked episode I did recently about romanticizing life, and let's see, what else. I also really love the episode I did on self-love. I mean, the whole month of February, I really liked the whole self-love theme. I thought that was really fun. And yeah, I think those are my favorites. Second question. What is the best state in the U.S.? Like I said earlier, I've been to 48 of 50 U.S. states, and I feel like it's impossible for me to decide which one's like the best. I love California. I think California is like, it's so diverse. You've got all the way from the desert to the mountains, and so I think you have a lot of there's a lot of diversity and options there. I love Montana, and I love New York, Maine, New Hampshire, all really great. Florida is Florida. I mean, Florida's gorgeous and also insane. Like, if you've ever played the game Florida Man, like, you know what I mean. Just look up Florida Man and put in any date of the year, and you'll understand. But I still love Florida, and I don't really like most of the Midwest. At least the areas that I went to, there wasn't a ton to do. Especially in states like... I gotta pull up a U.S. map, because I'm not... Alright, here we go. Especially like Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Oklahoma, that little bit, there's not a ton to do. At least in the areas that we were in. I loved Idaho and I already said Maine. So yeah, I guess those are my favorites, or, you know, the best in my opinion. Have you ever met someone famous? I guess yes. I mean, I met Claire Rosencrantz at her concert in February, which is really cool. I love her. I love her music. And I also talked to her on Zoom a couple weeks ago. She just released her album, and she did like a midnight Zoom. And I was awake, and I was like, oh, I'll hop on. And there was less than 100 people on there, and only like 10 of us were even speaking to her with our cameras on. And I talked to her about her openers for her tour coming up, and all that kind of stuff. I don't think I've ever met anyone else famous other than that. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it on the famous side. How many pairs of Converse do you have? I know who asked this. I think I have 4 pairs of high tops and 3 or 4 pairs of low tops. But I really only have 3 pairs that I actually wear. I have my black camp Converse. They have like little camping doodles on them. I have my red classic high tops and my blue high tops. So those are the main like 3 pairs that I wear. I bring those with me back and forth between my mom's and my dad's house like every single weekend. Because I just switch between those 3 shoes. Like I really don't wear anything else. What is your zodiac? I'm a Gemini. It's very fitting for me. That's pretty much all I got on that. I don't really understand astrology very well. Like, I'm not very into it, so I don't really know if there's anything else. I tried at one point to learn about it and like understand like rising or whatever. I don't get it. I just know that I'm a Gemini. That's pretty much it. And that apparently Gemini fits me very, very well. Wow, I just made my outline start to write AI for me. Okay, let's not do that. What is the hardest/best part about homeschool? The hardest part about homeschooling is being alone on the laptop all day, every day, and not being with people my age every day, because public schoolers get to go into class surrounded by people their own age, learning the same thing, every single school day, and I'm at home on my laptop learning, teaching myself pretty much. So that's definitely the hardest part, and the best part is the flexibility. Is homeschooling is what allowed us to travel 48 days and 48 weeks, what allows me to create the things that I love and spend extra time with my family and all of those things. What is the easiest way, it just says the easiest way to gain confidence. The easiest way to gain confidence, I feel like that's like what's the easiest, fastest way to make money kind of question. If I were to say like the number one thing you can start doing would be to keep promises to yourself. If you tell yourself, even just like in your head, that you're going to do something, do it. Keep that promise, because that's going to really boost your self-confidence. And like on the more self-love side of self-confidence, I feel like you really need to turn the mirror from an enemy to your best friend and just put a lot of energy towards yourself. I feel like something that anyone who's struggling with this can just start doing pretty simply. It's not hard. You don't even have to do anything, but when you wake up in the morning and you're looking in the mirror, instead of immediately like critiquing yourself, just look at yourself as if you were best friends with yourself. If it was your best friend, give yourself a compliment, or like give yourself one thing that you really love about yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, all the things. Or you can do like 30 days, just in your notes app, write like one thing you love about yourself every day for as long as you possibly can, and it has to be different every single day. I am definitely going to do this challenge again in February. We did this last February, and I force all of my friends to do it because it's really, really good for you, and it does get hard towards the end of the month, but just try and name one thing every day that you love about yourself. What did you want to be when you grew up? Like, when you were, okay. What did you want to be when you grew up, like when you were a little kid? I wanted to be for a long time I wanted to be a rocketech, which was a word that my mom came up with to combine the fact that I wanted to be a rocket and an architect. I danced a lot when I was really little. I did a lot of musical theater, and I loved musical theater. I've actually been looking for a ballet class to take because I really want to, I have a lot of, what's the word? Trauma's kind of a strong word, but just, stuff that happened and, a lot of anxiety around and, all these different negative things about when I used to dance. And so I really want to, take a dance class for fun and, turn that into something fun again for myself. But yeah, I wanted to be a rocketech. And then after that, when I quit dancing, I had no clue what I wanted to be. What language do you speak? What languages do you speak? I obviously speak English. That's my first language. And right now I've been working on learning ASL and Spanish, both for a long time now. I have always wanted to be a polyglot, which means to speak more than 5 languages, to be fluent in more than 5 languages. And that's definitely been put on the back burner, a goal that's been put very far back, but something that I definitely want to focus on more, especially because the older you get, the harder it is to learn new languages. But yeah, ASL is definitely my favorite to learn, because it is so different and unique, and I feel like it's definitely easier for me because it's all muscle memory. Spanish, I also love. I think it's so pretty and so much fun. I got really scared. We went to Puerto Rico with my mom in July, and a lot of people only spoke Spanish, and I was really, really scared to use Spanish while I was there because I did not want to make mistakes. And I think I used Spanish with 2 people. One, we were at a restaurant, and or like a little bakery, and the girl who was taking our order did not speak any English, but I was able to like place our order in Spanish, and it was very scary, but I did it and I was proud of myself. And then the other time was at our resort, there was like a girl who like braided hair and stuff, and she did my hair 2 days in a row. I loved her. I loved her so much. She was so cool, but she was teaching me a little bit of Spanish and asking me about like US schools and things like that. But yeah, and my whole family knows some ASL, not a lot. We did like a 30-day challenge last year, and we were learning ASL every single day, and we still use it sometimes to talk to each other. A lot of times I'll use it and nobody will know what I'm saying or signing, but yeah, I hope to learn French, German, and Hawaiian along with those other two, so one day I'll get there. Where in the US should my family go on a trip? I mean, I feel like it depends on what your family wants. If you want somewhere like with a lot of nature, 100% the Grand Tetons. That's my favorite place in the US. I love it there. If you go in the winter, I know they have a lot of skiing and things like that. And if you go in the summer, tons of hiking, climbing, paddle sports, paddle boarding, swimming, those kinds of things. I love the Grand Tetons so much. And then New York City. It's so fun there. I love it there. It's so much fun to go to New York. If you want somewhere in the desert, I wouldn't recommend White Sands. I would say, I think Utah. There are 5 different national parks in Utah, and so if you want something more deserty, definitely one of those national parks I think would be really cool. Moab is so much fun. And what else? Obviously, beaches, Florida. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Or, California, I'm sure has beautiful beaches, but I haven't been there, so I can't tell you that. Yeah. Pretty sure. Oh, and Maine. If you want something that's more coastal, but not to swim and, like, do beachy things, definitely Acadia and Bar Harbor. Oh, and for, like, really good mountains, obviously the Tetons, but Montana Glacier National Park is really great. And yeah, those are my favorites. If you want something really touristy and not really like naturey at all, definitely like Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Awful. So many tourists, so much like amusement parks and all sorts of things, but there's also, the Great Smoky Mountains, so if you're there, go there. I promise you it's fun. I feel like Big Bend. That is a great, if you don't like a lot of people and you want desert and mountains, Big Bend is awesome. I don't recommend going in the summer. I would go like early spring when it's cooler, because it is very, very hot. A lot of people have died due to heat conditions there, so keep that in mind. But those are my recommendations. And then the last question is, will you ever give us bloopers? I don't know about that one. Maybe. I would have to go through, I have all the raw files from all of my episodes. I would have to go through them and find them. I think there's a lot of bloopers towards the beginning of a lot of them. But maybe. I don't know if I would just post an episode of all bloopers or how that would work. I'll have to think about that one. I don't know about that one. We'll see about that. Alright, now let's talk about the future and what's changing and all the things. So, I'm kind of scared to say this because I don't want to change my mind and then not be able to take it back, but I think this is what needs to happen. So, I will not be posting any podcast episodes for the rest of 2023. There's 2 months left in the year, and I haven't been feeling the way the podcast is moving right now, and everything. So it hasn't been, for a while now, it hasn't been very motivating. So I'm going to make some changes, and basically the podcast is working on herself right now for the rest of the year. She's going to glow up and come back better than ever. So that's what's happening right now. And I will still be posting on Instagram and the podcast Instagram. So make sure to follow me and the podcast on Instagram. You can look in the episode notes. And I'm also posting on Pinterest now. I love Pinterest so much. And I wanted to give attention to some of the photos that don't make it to Instagram. So Pinterest, definitely follow me there. It's the Moanna Adams, pretty much everywhere. Oh, and YouTube. Go to YouTube, and if you're not on Instagram, all the reels that I post to Instagram are also on YouTube Shorts. So be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Pinterest, all the things. I have a lot of really fun boards on Pinterest. I love it so much. Mwah. But that's pretty much all I have for you today. And I guess I'll talk to you in 2024. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to give this podcast a rate and review, as well as follow me on all my socials linked in the show notes. Don't forget to drink some water, and I'll talk to you later.